The future is female, and behind every successful woman is herself. At BeachCandy Swimwear, we believe real women truly do shine the brightest. Welcome to the Real Women Shine podcast with BeachCandy Swimwear. Hey everyone, my name's Britt, and I'm the founder and designer at BeachCandy Swimwear and also your host for the Real Women Shine podcast. Today we're going to be speaking with Gabriela Barnuevo, who is a best friend of mine back from my college years in New York City. She is an exquisite example of what extraordinary looks like, acts like, and lives like, and I absolutely cannot wait to share my dear friend Gaby with you. She currently lives in Geneva, Switzerland, and has traveled all throughout the world as a photojournalist and as just an adventurous, creative soul. So again, I cannot wait to introduce her to you, and here she is. Hey Gaby, how's it going?
Hey Britt, so good to see you.
So good to see you. Oh my gosh.
So long, it's crazy.
Time has just zoomed by. Now you have
Yes.
a almost 2-year-old and you're in Switzerland, Geneva, is that right?
Exactly.
Crazy. So I met Gaby, everyone, years ago in college at Pratt Institute. She was studying photography and I was studying fashion, and we quickly became best friends, and we have traveled together. We have definitely had some adventures together. And Gaby is originally from Spain and is now in Switzerland and has really traveled all over the world and has led such an extraordinary life. And so that was back in, last time I saw you was college graduation. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It rained on our graduation. We didn't even get to walk.
We didn't walk.
I really feel for class of 2020 because we got the same experience minus the pandemic. And so, yeah, it's been that long. It's been 2008. So let's see.
2008. So
yeah.
we're it's 12 years. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Time flies. You always hear people say, oh, it's been so long, but it's crazy how time flies.
It really is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But you look the same. It's amazing.
So do you. You look like even better. So
we're like good French wine. No, good Spanish wine. Sorry. We just get better with age.
Amen. I love Spanish wine. I'm so envious of your European lifestyle right now. So first I want to start with, let's talk about, you studied photography in college and you were a photojournalist for, was it the New York Times back in the day?
I wish. I started with the New York Daily News, which is not a bad place to start. Yeah,
absolutely not. And then let's talk about just like where life took you from the moment I last saw you on. Let's just kind of dive into that a little.
I'll try to make it brief and interesting if it's possible. So I finished college, and right that year I actually graduated in January. I moved to Ethiopia with my whole family. I have 4 siblings, which are all younger than me, the youngest being 17, and I'm 34 now. And we lived there for 6 months. We were working in a hospital in rural Ethiopia that was from a Catholic mission. And that was just an extraordinary experience, not just the fact of living in Ethiopia, but also just being the whole family together. My siblings were being homeschooled. We were with my parents. I was done with college. I was helping with homeschooling. And that was one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life. And then, you go to this attitude of, oh, I'm going to go help in Ethiopia. And in the end, you just get helped because you just learn so much about life and what it means to be fulfilled, what it means to be happy, how extremely lucky we are. And I don't know, like that just, it's the most wonderful experience I've had in my life. After that, I had been working as a photojournalist in New York. So I wanted to continue with that after the experience with my family. And I'm having a huge deja vu just with a kid and you and everything.
I love it.
And so I went to Spain because I'd grown up 18 years in the States, and I miss Spain. I miss my roots. I miss my family and my friends. So I moved to Bilbao the north of Spain, the Basque Country, and I worked for a newspaper there for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And it's the largest newspaper in the region. So it was great work, great exposure. Working newspaper is amazing because in the morning you're taking photos. You just all layers of society you get to touch. You're in a homeless shelter in the morning, and then you get to be with the president of the government in the afternoon. So for me to understand society, to be in touch with society, to be able to look in the eyes of all types of people and just realize that everybody's just a human. We just got dealt our cards in different ways and everything, and really understanding different societies. Like when I worked in New York, you really get to know New York as a journalist. When you work in Bilbao, you really get to know the city and the culture, the food, the people. But after almost 3 years there, I felt like I had hit the ceiling. There was nowhere else to go as a photojournalist. I was one of the best newspapers. I was working every day, but eventually news in small towns, they start getting repetitive. So it starts getting a bit boring I don't know.
Absolutely.
So I decided I wanted to be a freelancer, and I just had to find a place where I could just move and become, my own photographer. And so I kind of studied the world and saw what possibilities I could go to. And I saw that, at the moment in Senegal, there was going to be elections. There weren't many photographers based there. So I decided it was a great spot to go and start working there. I knew nobody, I had no contacts. So I just hit the ground and started sending emails, trying to get beer with whoever would accept a free beer from me. And with elections, there started to be a lot of work. So I lived in Senegal for 2 years, working mostly with Associated Press as a freelancer, and then just, magazines and anything you can find. Really, as a freelancer, you're just like a one-man orchestra. You can do everything. I wrote, I did video, mostly photography, but when somebody says, "Are you available?" you always say yes.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I missed that 2-year stint of
I know, but then it kind of continues, because in the meantime, I did 3 months in Bangladesh, where I did stories in brothels, which I spent 2 weeks living in a brothel, which was like really super intense with underage girls and everything. And again, it's just people that are in such unfortunate circumstances, that you're like, fuck. And it's hard. It's a bit hard to go also as a photographer, because you feel like maybe you're exploiting their life a bit, because I go in there, I just fly in, I take the photos I want, and then I walk out, I forget about my life, and I try to sell the story. So that was always a bit conflicting for me, because I don't know, it's like I feel like you profit in other people's pain in a way, even though I'm there to document reality.
And you have that, you also love helping people. So to just photograph and not get in there and save every woman in that place.
Yeah, which is not possible. You also have to be realistic, and you have to live your life and just try to, when you're with them, respect the people that you're with as much as possible. But life goes on, and I am lucky enough to have seen these amazing things in the world. So then I went down to the south of Bangladesh, actually, and did a climate change story, because unfortunately, Bangladesh, when the sea level rises, is one of the first countries that will disappear.
Right.
So, and this was 10 years ago, and so you just, a lot of struggling farmers, a lot of sad stories. These people, they go into the mangroves to hunt for crabs. They get attacked by tigers. We had to wear a mask on the back of our heads, because tigers don't attack to the face. They only attack on the neck. So you would wear a mask on the back, and then we would see tiger footprints, and like, fuck, we don't want to see a tiger. You want to see a tiger, but you don't want to see a tiger, And then I don't know if it was for the show, but the guy that we had, he would like pick up the water smell it and be like, there's a tiger nearby. Like, how do you know the smell of piss? I'm like, no. I think you're just playing. So yeah, I mean,
he has to tease you somehow.
I think so. I think so. But it was really cool because then you have like honey hunters, which I never knew it was a thing. You go wild honey hunters, you go into the mangroves and with smoke and you take honey from the honeycombs, and I don't know, it's like all these careers that exist and jobs that exist in the world that I was really lucky to be exposed to. And then I don't know, I mean, after that I continued to Ghana. I lived there for a year and a half. Then I moved to the Philippines with my cousin because he had like he has a very strange job, and he's like, I need help, and I said, okay, I'll go with you. So I lived in the Philippines for 6 months, and that was an amazing experience. I got to live with my cousin, which was, you know, an opportunity that I would have never thought possible, because we're very different people, but we managed to work well, and that was an amazing experience. And so yeah, I've kind of bounced around the world, you know, always with a camera on my back, and always working as a photographer. So I took a little break because, you know, I was getting old, and for me, I have a large family and I really wanted to have children, but I knew that as a photojournalist, the way I was living, it was quite selfish. Because, you know, you just get called at whatever time of day, you have to go quickly, you have to get a plane. So it wasn't a lifestyle prone to be able to have a lot of kids. And for me, I mean, that's just something I've always wanted in my life. So I ended up moving to Madrid, to Spain, 5 years ago. And there I did a little bit of photography. Still worked for Associated Press, and then my dad started a company, so I just decided to start, you know, help with him, like the creative angle, the website, the photos, and then I started to get more and more into it, which was in real estate, and I found it fascinating because it was about getting old buildings and redoing them, and I don't know, there's a certain beauty, you know, to redo. I find it fascinating.
And that was in Madrid as well, correct?
That was in Madrid.
How
and that's where I met my husband, and who's a Swiss. Whoever knew I wouldn't marry a Swiss, like, you know, the last prototype of a man I would imagine. And me, because I'm like very like free spirit, I don't care, I'm not square, I'm not, you know, I'm very laid back. But and then like life just like brings you opportunities, so you just take whatever comes. And his uncle is an oyster farmer in northern France for all his life. So it's a family business of oysters. And the uncle is about to turn 80. He's been working his whole life, and there's nobody in the family that wants to retake the business. So we thought, well, why don't we go try it out for a year and see if like we want to become oyster farmers. So we lived a year in France, in the oyster farm, and worked as oyster farmers. And after a magical year, like out of a story, we said, oof, it's a really, really difficult life. Like it's insane. And chapeau to all the farmers out there, because it's backbreaking work. It's you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. Your whole crop can disappear in 2 days. I mean, it's really like a frustrating job. So after a year there, which we absolutely loved, we said, do we want this to be our life project? And that's when I got pregnant, and I was like, you know, I don't know. If you become a farmer here, you have to stay here for life. And I've traveled so much, and I just didn't want that big anchor, you know, saying like, I can't travel with my kids, I have to take care of a farm. That's how I ended up in Geneva, and I've been here for a year. And so now I go back to photography.
Amazing.
Because it's my passion, it's what I've always loved, and I've missed not working in it for the last 4 years. So now, you know, I'm back at it, and I'm very happy.
Amazing. And now what happened to the oyster farm, and who's running it now?
Well, I don't think the uncle will die in his oyster farm. He's still going there every day. It's what
Oh,
makes him
wow.
happy. It's what makes him like tick.
Yes. And this is
So,
in Brittany,
you know,
France, or?
yeah,
Yes.
it's
I love it.
gorgeous.
I've been and I've walked the
Yeah.
path along the water there, and I've watched old men and women holding hands, walking out with their buckets to collect their mussels or oysters for the
The
day.
clams, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, what a magical place. And just giving it a try for a year. I mean, wow, that's so cool.
So lucky.
Yeah.
You know, the cute little town, super
Right.
friendly, you know,
and don't they say oysters are an aphrodisiac? Is it any coincidence that you got pregnant at that same
maybe.
time?
I would discard it. And I love oysters. And being able to work in an oyster farm and just having like, you know, a stack of oysters and just you can open it. You're out in the field.
Right.
You have an oyster. I mean, it's
bottle of rosé.
You wish. It sounds very romantic, but you're like hunched over the whole day. Your back is killing you. You have to flip these bags of oysters. I mean, it's hell. It's hell.
Oh my gosh.
You're
How
working
long
in
is
the
day?
water.
Is it early? Is it like 4 a.m.? What is it?
You work according to tides.
Okay.
So Mother Nature's your guide, because the oysters are grown in the tide area. So in Brittany, you have very big tides.
Right.
So when you have strong tides, you have about 3 or 4 hours that you get to be able to work on the actual farm.
Okay.
And you have these boats that are completely flat on the bottom. So when the tide goes off, they just lie on the sand, you know, so you can't move the boat. And then that's when you work, blah, 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 blah. And then when the tide comes back, it lifts the boat and then you can leave.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have video from that time in your life? Did you take any?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have the iPhone,
photos?
we have little videos, little snippets. Yeah, I would go out with the dog. I have a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and he would just out in the water with us all day. I mean, you're there in the sun, in the rain, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you start at 4 in the morning, and sometimes you start at 4 in the afternoon. It all depends on the tides, you know. That's what you're asking.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Wow, Gaby, you've really painted towns red. I mean, all the traveling you've done makes me so envious. It's so fun, but that's so cool. It's so cool how much you've traveled. You definitely probably look at life so differently than most people because you've seen so much.
Yeah, I think traveling really, really helps you open your eyes, you know, and see that we're just all humans in different circumstances dealing with our lives in different ways. So it makes you respect humans, it makes you respect nature, I don't know, appreciate what you have.
Absolutely.
So traveling is just, I recommend it to anybody that wants to get on a plane, doesn't even know what they want to do. I mean, anywhere you go is going to be fascinating.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite place in the world? Is it Spain?
I'm Basque, so it's the Basque country.
Yeah,
we have the best food in the world, the beautiful coast, beautiful people. So the Basque country.
When I visited San Sebastian and I walked into the little restaurants and had little tapas all laid out on the bar there, and oh my gosh, and then walking that beach is crazy. It's heaven on earth.
It's magical. Yeah.
It really, really is amazing. So do you think Geneva is just for now? Do you think you'll be moving one day?
Well, I don't know. I mean, for now, it looks like we'll be here for a while.
Okay.
And I'm happy because I've always moved every 3-4 years max.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting when I hit the 4-year mark.
Yes.
Right now I'm gonna hit the 2-year mark. I actually just hit the 2-year mark.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, for now, I mean, also you change, you evolve as a person, and and I don't know. For now, I'm happy, but we'll see. I mean, I would love to like create a bridge with Madrid. Madrid is only 2 hours away by flight, so to be able to have either work there or something that you know I can bring my family there and keep my roots in Spain, because I don't know, I'm very proud of Spain and I think we have great things to offer. So I want my kids to feel that passion and pride.
Absolutely. And then now when you say kids, are you planning to have more babies like your dad? I remember he said one time because you had so many siblings. He says, I love making people to love. And when I heard your dad say that, I will never forget
I
it.
don't remember that.
Oh my gosh. We were sitting at the
That's
kitchen table at your beautiful home in Rye, New York. And he was like, I just love making people to love.
I love that.
It was beautiful.
Well, I'm actually 1 month pregnant.
Oh my gosh, Gaby.
So
Burying the lead. Burying the lead. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Now I need to get on a damn plane. It's been too long. This is crazy.
Right? Well, there's always a room here for you.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
So yeah, I mean, it's super early, and you know, these things sometimes they don't happen in the first trimester, but that's how life is. But I don't mind talking about it because it happens to all of us. You know, I've actually already had an abortion in the past, a natural abortion, and I respect people that want to keep the 3-month rule. But you know, I mean, I for me it was easier because my friends talked to me about their experiences, so I feel like it's nice to talk about the experiences, and it happens
Absolutely.
to all of us. So now I'm just really happy. I found out like 3 days ago, and we'll see.
Oh my gosh. So you are glowing even extra today. I was like, man, you look good.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. And are you hoping boy or girl, or you don't care?
Well, I knock on wood, but I know what I want. I already have a boy, so
Okay.
but we'll see. I don't care.
My gosh.
I love boys.
Amazing.
He doesn't know yet. I haven't told him, but
okay.
Whatever.
And how's your family doing? They're still in Madrid?
They're in Madrid. I have 2 siblings living in New York.
Okay.
So they all went to New York and studied university there. They're just like New Yorkers, you know.
Yeah.
But with a Spanish heart.
Footsteps of their big sister.
Yeah. And so now I still have 2 in New York. My parents are in Madrid. My brother was in, and 2 in Madrid, but one of them is gonna probably move to Colombia. We'll see. Yeah, he wants to be a writer, so he wants to, you know, well, I guess follow my path, but you know, be inspired by traveling, which I think is great. He loves the lights.
He loves the lights. He's so cute.
La luz.
Yes.
¿La entiendes, por favor? So yeah.
Amazing. So, and then you said your brother's in Colombia, and then what about your other sibling? So you have 2 in New York.
He just started school today.
Okay.
Today, I think. No, he's starting on Monday in Madrid. So he is going to be a senior, I believe, which is insane. We're 18 years apart.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at schools in New York. He really wants to go to the new school.
Yeah.
So
the last time I saw him, he was sitting on your lap as, 5 years old.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you can really tell time flies, I'm noticing, is through children, because like I just became an aunt, and just the time that goes past in 2 weeks, they're already doing new things, different things, and before you know it, they're bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's amazing. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just finding now that like between like having kids, spending quality time with them, just the importance of being fulfilled. I mean, it's not even about happiness, because I think everybody has this thing of like, you want to be happy, which I think it's the most important thing in the world, but maybe that's not how you define it, because happiness is just peaks, you know. I don't feel like you can be in a constant state of happiness,
right?
But just this thing about really feeling fulfilled, you know, and really being able to be in the moment. And I mean, it all sounds a bit cliche, but once you start to break it down and think about it, it's just so fundamental, you know, just how it can bring so much to you. And then once you are okay with yourself, and once you are at peace with yourself, then you just give so much more love to the world. And I think, you know, even if we're not out here trying to save the world in what we do day to day, by being a better person, a good person, looking people in the eyes and really seeing them as people, you know, and respecting them, then we can put our little grain of sand to try to make everything a little bit better. I mean, so I have a lot of hope in humanity, and I think we're going in a great direction despite everything. And I don't know, I'm just so happy that I can try to instill this into my children and try to apply it every day in my life. You know, it's quite difficult, you know. But yeah, that's
amazing.
I don't know, for me, just really being happy is the most important thing in the world. And however you can construct that, whatever that means to you. You know, my brother that wants to go to Colombia, and he does he hasn't written a single email to a writer or to a newspaper, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you haven't done this? But if he's going to be happy, what do I care? What do I care if he ends up being a tomato farmer, you know? Or what do I care if my other brother becomes CEO of JP Morgan? I mean, that for me doesn't define you at all. So what I care about my siblings, because in a way they have been kind of my children.
Yes.
It's just that they are really happy with themselves.
Yes.
You know, and me, I want to be an example of that. And they say I nag them too much, and I criticize them too much, but I do it all out of love, because I just want the best out of them and out of everybody I'm with. But
how do you find fulfillment? What have you found that, of course, being with your son and things like that, but even a little bit deeper, what exact actions or activities bring you joy?
My exercise that I try to push myself is just being in the moment, and that's what brings me fulfillment. Just this like presence, that, you know, of thinking about the future, thinking about the past, or thinking exactly what's in front of me. So it can be translated many different things. I don't know, I like looking at you in your eyes, even though it's through a screen, but you know, feeling the chair underneath my butt, feeling my feet on the wooden floor. My hands are a bit cold now. Just really trying to savor the moment. And even if it's in pain or relative pain, because thankfully I haven't suffered real pain, but even when you're just doing exercise or yoga and you're in a terrible position, and you're like, okay, I'm here now. Like, what is this? And trying to analyze it. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. Just being with what is totally a vortex in of itself of joy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You're also living the European lifestyle, which just exudes joy and quality time and family first. And it's just a slower pace.
You live the California lifestyle. I mean,
I try not to, but the second I walk out that door, yes, I do.
I have to say, like, I'm half American. I have an American passport. I lived 18 years in the States, and America has a lot of great things to offer. But I'm completely inclined to the European way of life. I think here we just have a different way of just living life, especially in Spain, of just being able to sit outside and have a beer and the sun. I mean, I say this, and it's all in California as well.
Yes.
You know, you have good quality food,
It's
you have
different.
good people,
It's
you
different.
have the sun, but there's something, you know, there's how much we appreciate family, and how much we always make an effort to be with the family, always try to reunite the grandparents, the uncles. You know, I think unfortunately in the US, it's such a huge country that people move very easily, which is understandable. So it's harder to get that family together.
Yeah.
And in Madrid and Spain, you don't really move from your roots. Maybe it makes us like more boring people or something, but everybody kind of just stays always. That's why I never minded to travel, because every time I go back, it's the same, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a luxury just to say, like, I every time I come back, it's the same.
Right.
And just it's just the quality of life is
beautiful,
insane.
Beautiful traditions.
Insane.
Those traditions will never change. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Just now I was in August with my family in near Barcelona, in the north of Barcelona, and you know, just eating at 3:30, sometimes it's 4, it doesn't matter, dinner at 10, 11, but just like super relaxed. You sit down, you can sit down easily for 3-4 hours. You finish eating, you just lay back, you take a gin tonic on the table, like you don't remove any of the plates and you just talk. It's called sobremesa, which means above the table. So after lunch or dinner, you have sobremesa, and it's just all the conversation that happens, and I just get goosebumps thinking about it. It's very Mediterranean, and I don't know, it's one of the joys of life.
It sure is. And in the States, we clean up the table and then turn on the TV. No beautiful conversation. Actually, my husband and I don't do that, but that is the classic American way.
I have to say, your husband looks like he cooks so good.
He sure does. My gosh. Last night, he just randomly whipped up a Caesar salad dressing, homemade, and it was just so anchovy and lemon, and it was delicious. Yeah, I love his cooking.
And I'm really getting into cooking. I love food. Just love it. Love it, like from the ground up, like everything. We actually now, well, my husband has gotten into growing too, so now we have our terraces full of tomatoes, Russian cucumbers, lettuces, kumbawa, lemons, everything. Everything got destroyed by a storm like 2 weeks ago, but we still have like little remnants. and just, I don't know, food. And for me, just like normally it's like the simplicity of the recipe is just with the high quality ingredients. Because once you have a good tomato and a good piece of meat, you don't need anything.
That is almost the entire reason I want to move to Europe, is the ingredients of the food. Because here in America, we modify everything, and but by the time it ends up on your plate, it's tasteless and filled with poison.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
Bad. This is what I appreciate about Europe and the European laws for food, is that just for the use of antibiotics, the use of pesticides, it's still used here, but much less than the States.
On a safer scale.
Much safer. Like the things that you inject yourself with the American diet is, we have no idea the long-term repercussions. Well, now we're starting to see it, actually, and our bodies suffer. I mean, it's something invisible, but and I think the good thing though is that people are really becoming aware of it, and people are willing to bet on it, and they pay for it, because I pay for organic food. You pay more.
You do.
I'm willing to pay for it more, because I know in the long term, you'll just be a healthier person. I mean, you'll have probably less healthcare costs or whatever. I mean, it's and it's not just about us, it's about nature. I mean, it's a whole cyclical, it's how you treat your body, it's how you should be treating the world.
You only get one. And like, I've had some issues with my health throughout the last few years. And so we've really been focused on, there's a quote that I love that says, everything that you eat is either feeding disease or fighting disease. I'll never forget when we went to Caracas together, and we came back, and your parents picked us up from the airport, and they had just finished with a gala, and your dad was in a tuxedo and your mom was in a big, beautiful dress. And oh my gosh, your family just, every moment with them was always just a beautiful experience. And
it's crazy because
time with you.
I mean, we became friends maybe the last 2 years of college, or basically the last year, and then we haven't seen each other. But I remember that first dinner that we had in Brooklyn, where we had a bottle of wine, and I just felt like, okay, like this is like a friend. I'm sitting here, I'm with my bottle. It felt so Spanish, it's super relaxed, super. I don't know.
Conversation went on for hours.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, it's you're a version of my soulmate.
we clicked immediately, and I can't believe this much time has gone by, and I can't believe I haven't seen you, and it's just tragic. But I'm definitely going to change that as soon as the flights open up a little bit more. We're going to come visit you for sure.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But that trip to Caracas, do you remember how crazy and fun that was? And some of the crazy stuff we got into?
Yes.
The craziest thing was when we went to hike to that waterfall. And I didn't even think of the bugs. And I am so scared of bugs. Do you remember that? Oh my gosh.
I remember the 24-hour ants, remember? There was a giant ant like this that if it bit you, you got fever, and in 24 hours later, you died.
You died. So we got into that like 5-person plane, which was already like, okay, girls, you're going in. There's no going back. There's no like next flight out an hour later. So they drop, and in the back of the plane was an indigenous family, and it was just you and I in this plane. They drop us off at Angel Falls, or days away from it actually, but at a base camp, and then we get in a canoe for a day and a half.
It was like a full day of just trekking up.
And they take us into the Amazon, and this was new to me, of just like, okay, they show you the brochure, the waterfall sure is beautiful, but to get there you've got to like, slay anacondas and the rest of whatever else was in that jungle. But yes, there were anacondas. They said we couldn't pee in the water, remember, when we were swimming, because they had those fish that would swim up your pee stream.
I also remember stopping at this indigenous house, and we had the yuca beer, which I can still feel it in my mouth. Like I can eat everything, but
right,
that was difficult.
Oh my gosh. And then I was so scared of the bugs. I asked them what they had to protect ourselves, and they said the rum. And so we were just drinking rum like crazy. Oh my gosh.
And it was just us two with a guide in the camp,
too.
Us too. And we slept in the hammocks.
With the mosquito net and the one light, so every bug in the jungle was there on top of our nets just sitting, so if you got out they'd be on you, so you're just like in this claustrophobia plus bugs. It was like, I swear, I think of that all the time, because it was literally my most fear factor moment of my life. But amazing. We got out alive.
We made it.
We did. I'm sure you have many memories like that of all your travels and crazy situations you've been in. That's wild, though, man. Oh, and now here we are.
Yep. You with your
baby on the way.
And your baby that I remember when you were drawing out your logo. And you're like, oh, what do you think of this? And you had this like vision. It was insane. Like I've never seen somebody with such a vision and determination than you. I mean, you are my example, because you said, oh, we never had TV growing up, and we don't have a TV. Like you are my example of that. Like you can't get bored. And look, my kid, he just doesn't get bored. He just knows how to play. But that's partly thanks to you, because you really just, I don't know. It's amazing how you've had something in your eyesight, how you were able to save up for your business, how you had a business, like you were graduating, you already had your business plan and your like cash saved up to start your business. Like it was insane. And now look at you, like super successful, amazing bikinis. I have to say. Like,
I love that you're holding. Did I tell you that was the print that I bought with you in Bogota?
Well, no, but I always I imagined, because
yes,
it was beautiful.
I bought a print in the market with you in 2007 in Bogota on our way to Colombia, or on our way to Venezuela, and I made that print into a swimsuit. It was editor's pick in Sports Illustrated in 2012, and now you own it, and it's all full circle. I can sleep.
And that's why I loved it so much. I guess I didn't even realize subconsciously it was this print, which is amazing. Really, awesome. I'm so happy to have one of these pieces. And just what I love about people is when they do things with love and care and quality. Like I'll pay for that. I'll be happy. Anybody that does that, like, and then the product is just good. Like I just think of a tomato. This is like the amazing summer tomato, like perfection. Just the quality, like it'll last. I don't know if that was a good
that's
analogy,
beautiful.
but
I love that. I'm honored.
But just when you do something with so much passion and care, that you just feel it, like it just radiates quality, and so I'm really happy to have one of these.
Oh, I'm so glad, Gaby.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Really, and things that last long, things that I just hate. But like I find it so frustrating, bikinis, that they last 1-2 seasons maximum, and then it's just completely undone.
Right.
So,
and then it ends up in a landfill. That's like my biggest thing is, just buy something once, wear it, love it, live it forever. And then, you know, if you want two, go for 2 or 3, but have them for forever, you know, have them for a very long time.
And that's how I now, how I buy, and my husband has the same mentality, how we do everything. It just really just go for the quality, period.
Amazing.
It's the only thing that matters. It's how we're going to help the planet. It's how we're going to help ourselves. We also are going to buy less because we're going to buy good. So, I mean, it's great.
And like you were saying, I wanted to come back to that with when you travel to these really impoverished countries and they have nothing, they seem happier and are happier than most of us who have so much. Yeah. And I really think that there is a joy and a happiness and an enlightenment that lives in a simplistic lifestyle. I really am. I'm so aware of that these days. And I want for almost nothing except time with those I love, a good meal, and, you know, just the beautiful sunsets and and sunrises each day. Like, if you just kind of bring it back to these basics, I've found that's really been a big help for me during this time as well, is just focusing on only what's immediately a need.
Sure, but then it's fine to have like we call it caprichos, like you know, something that you don't need but you want.
Right.
It's fine to permit yourself. Again, it's not about extremes. If you really, really want X, it's fine if you can afford it. If it's not gonna if it's not gonna weigh you down, as long as it doesn't weigh you down.
Right.
Because me, I'm attached to materialism in a way. Like, so I had like this comes from Ethiopia. This comes from Burkina Faso. The first time I went when I was 18.
Wow.
You know, and it's materialistic in a way, but I don't know. I mean, which is something I struggle with sometimes. But I think there's also a balance that it's okay to like, you know, there's simplicity in things, but once you have things, like taking care of them, appreciating, like moderation.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely. What story stands out most to you when you were in that brothel? Because that sounds like that was a wild 2 weeks, Gaby.
Yeah, I mean, it was really intense because the brothels there are like matriarchal societies, so it's run by women, which is interesting to think about because the conditions and everything they live in is really extreme. I mean, it was a neighborhood in a relatively large city where 2 rivers meet. So you had 2 large rivers and a couple of highways. So you had a lot of truckers, you had a lot of captains of boats and salesmen. And so there was a lot of incoming traffic. So it's one of the largest brothels in the country. And there was 4 huge 5-story buildings that were hidden. Like, you just walk down the normal street and then you had curtains. And so you could walk through the curtain and you entered these alleyways, and then it's just alleyways with little huts built from the building. So, you know, you have the big buildings, and then every spot that they've managed to build a room, they had a room. And then but it was like a little city. You had your kiosk, you had the food vendor, you had the tobacco vendor, you had the condom vendor, but it's all focused around the brothel. And these large buildings, you had, I don't know, maybe 8 rooms to each side, which each room belonged to a girl, and half the floor was for one madame and half the floor was for another madame, and the madames owned the girls. So really it's slavery. I mean, it's insane because it's just pure slavery. The girls, just the story of this girl that was she told her by her uncle that she was going to go to Dhaka, which is the capital, to become a dancer, and she was going to go to a dance school. So she left her family, said bye to her parents, like all happy, and then she ended up being sold for $200 to a madame, and then they have to pay off their madames, and once they're paid
sold
off,
by her family or sold
by her uncle. And then once they're supposed to pay off what they're sold, but of course, you know, they don't even know how much they've been sold. They don't have accounting. They don't. I mean, what is this? It's just pure slavery. and um and you just see these, you know, these little girls, and they go to the madames and they're like, okay, well, I have a customer, and she gets a condom and a cigarette, which she buys off of the madame to give to the guy, so the guy can have sex and then smoke a cigarette. um and I don't know, this little girl, she had this phone. I mean, it was a while ago, but you still had video on the phone. It was just super pixelated, and it was a video of a slasher film, which I'd never seen. Like, so it was a guy forcing himself on a woman, like super violent. They were cutting their boobs off, and I don't know if it was real or not, because I think some of these videos are real. And she was just showing to me like, look, you know, and just like laughing at it, and that for me was very shocking, because this girl is being raped because they're not there because they want to, you know. And then she just sees these videos, and I guess it's a mechanism, you know, of protecting yourself, and just like laughing at it. And I don't know. I mean, when it hit 8 p.m., they told us we couldn't be there anymore, you know, because it got too aggressive. And then you have people that come drunk, and then you know, they would make jokes like, oh, like, how much are you, ha ha ha, you know, which obviously they know we're not. I don't know. It's for me, it's hell on earth.
Yeah, it really
Hell
is.
on earth.
It really is.
And then you ask them, you know, like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Which I don't know if it was a very, very fair answer. I guess I don't know. Also, I was really young when I went. And they're like, oh, I want to be a madame. You know, they wanted to be part of that, which is understandable. If you put yourself in their feet, because the madame is the one with the most power,
Right,
you know, and the most
right,
freedom. So
right.
But they just want to perpetuate. And then they took these drugs that were for cows, for bloating cows up to make them fatter, like fake fat. And their being fat is beautiful. So you had all these girls that were like unproportionally fat. So you could see that they were I can't imagine how unhealthy it is. And then just these large bins like this big in the corners, up, like overflowing with condoms, like, and just insane.
Wow, Gaby. Jeez.
No, but you were just
That's
there.
so
I mean,
nuts.
for me, it's terrible, but it was fun because these girls were so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, you were just there, you would laugh with them. I mean, fun entre comillas, because it's really like, it fucks you up, you know, because you're there, you're with them, you're seeing it, but there's nothing you can do about it. And then the girls are just so sweet.
Right.
So sweet. And then you see, like, when they're 17, 18, they start getting more aggressive, and then they won't want to talk to you, and, you know, life has treated them really, really hard. I just remember even the madames, they had these stories of like, I don't even want to be here, you know. Like, I was a cleaner in Saudi Arabia, and then she got caught and then sent back, and she's like, all I want to do is like clean houses in Saudi Arabia. Like, what am I doing here? But she felt like she had no other option.
Right. Wow, that's so sad. Man. Yeah, there's some really dark places on this earth that still need attention and focus and photos, so that there's awareness and help.
That's the importance of photography.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Did
show the world.
Did you sell that story? Did people pick that up?
It's crazy. The brothel story, I never managed to sell because it was out of fashion and it's been done way too much. That was the reaction I got from a bunch of magazines. It's like, well, that's a bit deplorable, you know. I mean,
absolutely,
it's not in fashion, or I mean, the stories are insane that are coming out of here.
Right. Actually, I feel like I never see an honest story. I think you should publish it on your own somehow.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking of going back to my work that I haven't sold, going back through it, and, you know, trying to shed light again on it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the world needs to know stuff like this, and a lot of people are not as as excited about getting on a plane and having no plan and getting somewhere and digging in to meet people and get the story and then get out. I think that that's a dying art. I think everything's so corporate and structured and has a timeline and a schedule and an Excel spreadsheet and, you know, and has to fit within, and then they have to fit the story within the box that they were given. And I think it's very cool what you do.
This was
You
cool
tell a
because
raw story.
you know, we had no idea. You arrive there, it's like, so this is going back to the matriarchal society. There's the president of the brothel, so you have to sit down with her, and then there's a council, and then they have to agree to let you in, because of course this is all like super modern, so they're not going to let just people walk in. And the whole process of getting in and everything, you know, it was amazing because it was set up like a company.
Right.
And the close a thing, and you had to get permission, and
Right.
and then you had the accountant that came in every day with like his giant book. He was a really short, bald man, came around with his little glasses, and he looked like an accountant, giant book, and like wrote down all the notes of the accounting of the business. And
Wow. Well, amazing, Gaby. Thank you so much for getting on here and just sharing some of your magic with myself and with anyone who's listening. I really appreciate it. I knew you had great stories to tell, but you definitely over-delivered. This was amazing.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's really cool to just see how we just pick right back up where we left off.
It's crazy.
It's awesome. All right, Gabs. He's so cute in the background. He's just having a field day with everything.
I know.
He's a smart little guy. Oh my gosh, I'm curious. He's so cute.
Extremely curious.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, feed him dinner. It was so good to see you.
Yeah.
So good to meet Aneko. I can't wait to meet him in person one day soon.
Yeah.
And congratulations on being pregnant.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll talk soon.
I love you.
I love you. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Women Shine podcast with BeachCandy Swimwear. Please give us a thumbs up if you liked this video, and if you want to see more, please click on the subscribe button below. Don't forget to click the notification bell, which will notify you when a brand new BeachCandy video is published. We hope this episode brightened your day and inspired you to shine your brightest. If you want to learn more or experience our famous fit, you can head to our website at beachcandyswimwear.com.
Every woman has a story to tell. After 10 years in our fitting rooms with women from all walks of life at BeachCandy Swimwear, we believe this to be true. And we love nothing more than real conversations, real women, and real shine. And that's precisely why we started the Real Women Shine podcast. So if you or someone that you know leads an extraordinary life, has an inspiring story to tell, or owns an incredible business, we want to know about it. Please nominate them in the comments below, and we cannot wait to share your shine with the world.